I'm Cath. My channel is Made by Cath Craft, and thank you very much for joining me for my latest video. So today's video is a bit of a sewing catch-up, sewing plans type video. I've got a few different things to share that I've been up to on the sewing front or that I've got planned. I've got a new pattern to share, a project I've been working on, and a couple of other bits to talk about. I also wanted to include in this video a little bit about what I've been up to on the knitting front, so I'll pop that at the end of the video in case that's not your bag. But yeah, I've got lots of different things to talk about on the sewing front. I'm really looking forward to sharing what I've been up to and what I've got planned. So that's what this video is going to be about, a bit of a chatty sewing catch-up one. But I'll start off as usual with what I'm wearing today. And today it's actually quite chilly here, although the sun is shining. It's definitely gone a lot colder over the last couple of weeks here in the south of England, which is quite nice actually, because I've really enjoyed getting out some of my more wintry items from my handmade wardrobe. So today I've got on a handmade top layered underneath a handmade pinafore, and I'll talk about the top first of all. You can probably recognise it, it's one of my favourites for this time of year. It's the Freya top, which comes from this book here, the Tilly and the Buttons stretch book. And the Freya is a top and dress pattern, and I really like both the top and dress options for it. It's quite a close fitting jersey top. You can make it as a sort of elbow length sleeve or a longer sleeve. I've got the longer sleeve version on, nice and cosy. It has a few different necklines included, and my favourite is this one, the mock neckline, which is like a mock turtleneck. It's not too tight, it's really comfy. I got quite a few Freya tops, and when I first discovered the pattern and really loved it, I made quite a few in quite bright, colourful patterns, and I really enjoy wearing those with a pair of jeans as kind of like a statement top. But more recently, in more recent times, I've made a few plain versions because I just find they're so practical and they work really well as layering pieces. So I've got one of my plain ones on today. I made this in a cotton jersey fabric that I got from Minerva in this navy blue colour, and it's just one I reach for a lot because I've got quite a lot of navy type colours or colours that work well with navy in my wardrobe. And I always make the size 2 of the Freya top, which is pretty much bang on for my measurements, which are bust 32, waist 26, hips 35. And I always lengthen the sleeve slightly and lengthen the body slightly just to make it extra nice and cosy. I love having a nice long sleeve top on at this time of year. So that's what I'm wearing underneath, and then over the top I've got this lovely pinafore on. It's one of my favourites actually to get out at this time of year. It's a really pretty pattern, and I've only made one of this pattern, but whenever I get this version out I think I should really make it again, because I remember really enjoying sewing it and I really enjoy wearing it too. And it's this pattern here. It is the Pippi Pinafore pattern by Jennifer Lauren Handmaids. It's a bit of a tongue twister there, Pippi Pinafore pattern. But it's a really nice pinafore pattern with some pretty details on that makes it a little bit different, and it also makes it a bit more of a complicated sew. I also love the Cleo Pinafore by Tilly and the Buttons, which is a more basic sort of straight shape classic pinafore. But this pinafore has a few more details on it, so it's a bit more of a complicated sew. But I do find Jennifer Lauren Handmade instructions are really good. They're really detailed, so they really hold your hand through the process of sewing. But I'll show you the Pippi Pinafore so you can see all the lovely details to it. And what's cool about it is the bib has darts in, and so it adds a bit of shaping on the top as well as the bottom. The bottom has darts as well at the back of the pinafore, and then pleats at the front. So it's designed to be a pinafore with a bit of shape that pulls in around your natural waist. It's got this crossover back detail and these pretty straps that sort of you have a hole, you make a sort of buttonhole in the bib and then loop them back over and sort of secure them with a button up here, which I think is quite a pretty unusual detail. Then it's got patch pockets, and then because it's quite a fitted pinafore, you need an opening to get into it, and it's got buttons down the side of the skirt, which is another really lovely detail. And the bib's lined, there's a little facing on the skirt. The skirt isn't lined, but I guess you could add a lining as well if you wanted to. So it's really pretty details, this one. And what's cool about it as well is it comes in a really good size range, and not only has it got a decent size range, I think it goes from a 6 up to a 34, but also it's got a whole range of cup sizes available too, so you can get it from an A cup up to an F cup. So yeah, it's a really size inclusive pattern and sort of shape inclusive as well, I guess. But yeah, really nice one. So the version I'm wearing today, my only version I've got, I made in this really lovely corduroy fabric that I got quite a while ago from Guthrie Garney. It's a Robert Kaufman corduroy fabric, which I find a really nice quality. It's quite a fine sort of needle cord. I'll stand up so you can see how fine it is. And it's in this really lovely rust colour that I think is really autumnal, and it's really nice and cosy actually to wear. And I think the corduroy sort of holds the shape and the details of the pinafore nicely. And then I added some lining in some fabric I had left over from a blouse I'd made a while ago. I made the blouse by the Avid Seamstress in a lovely Liberty Tana Lawn fabric. I'll give you a peek of that inside lining. It's got this sort of wintry berries on, so I think it's really pretty. And I've got that as a lining for the bib and also for the pockets, and also for the facing on the waistband too. But this Pinafore pattern comes together really nicely. It's comfy to wear and I love the little details. I'll stand up a bit so you can see the buttons down the side, because I think that's a really nice detail. Just show you a little bit of a peek of the pocket too there. So yeah, it's a really nice comfy one to wear, and I'll pop a picture up of me wearing it so you can see what it looks like on. I think when I made it, I went with my measurements on it. I made the size 8 in the B cup. That was pretty much bang on for my measurements, and I find the fit really good on it. So it's a nice cozy Pinafore dress to wear now the weather's getting chillier, and I really love this rust colour. I definitely recommend the Pippi Pinafore by Jennifer Lauren Handmade. I haven't made a lot of Jennifer Lauren Handmade patterns actually, but I do think when I get this one out I should really have a look on her website and maybe try another pattern of hers, because I think she has some really pretty designs. They often have a little twist to them. So that's what I'm wearing today, but I'll move on now to sharing with you what I've been up to on the sewing front. So the first thing I wanted to share in this video is the sewing project that I've been working on over the last week or so, and it's a wearable toile of a new to me pattern, and it's a pattern that I've been wanting to make up for quite a while, so it's been nice to actually finally get around to trying it out. And it's this pattern here, which is the Bowery top pattern by French Navy. So if you've watched my channel before, you'll know that I really like French Navy patterns. I really like the style of them and I like how they sew up to, and I've made a few of them now. I haven't made the Bowery top to date, but it's one of their older patterns and one that I've liked for quite a while. And I was actually kindly gifted this pattern by French Navy earlier this year. Sarah at French Navy got in touch and asked if I'd like any of her patterns to have a go of, but with no obligation to sort of share or anything like that. So I have had this pattern for a few months now in my stash, kindly gifted to me by French Navy. And then I spotted some fabric quite recently that I thought would work really well for this pattern. So I thought, well, I need to get on and print it out and trace it out and give it a go. But I decided to make a wearable toile first before I cut into my proper fabric, just to check the fit. But I'll show you all the details of the pattern. It's a woven top pattern with quite a cropped, boxy look to it. It's got dolman cuffed sleeves, an optional patch pocket on the front, and then buttons down the back. And I thought because it's quite cropped, I wanted to sort of make a toile to check out the length. You can see sort of on the pictures here, it kind of just skirts the top of a pair of high-waisted jeans. And because I've got a longer torso, I wanted to make sure it wouldn't come up too short on me. And I also thought I'd check the fit in terms of things like the shoulders, because on a couple of French Navy patterns, I've made a sort of small forward shoulder adjustment just to work for my body shape. So I thought I'd make the wearable toile, check the fit before I cut into my nice fabric. But yeah, it's a really cute top, and I really would like to have a version of this in my handmade wardrobe. In terms of sizing, the current sizing range of the Bowery top goes from a size A up to a size G, which takes you from a bust of 32 inches up to a bust of 41 3/4 inches. But this week on Instagram, I saw a new post by French Navy, and they were talking about how they've currently got 2 new patterns they're hoping to release soon. And they're hoping to release those 2 new patterns in a larger, more size-inclusive size range, which is really cool. So I can't wait to see their 2 new patterns and see their new range. And they also mentioned in this post they're also currently working on increasing the size range of their back catalogue of patterns too. So hopefully that will include the Bowery top. I think they said that for all of their older patterns, they're hoping to release a larger size range by the end of next year. So that's really great news that the French Navy patterns will be becoming more size inclusive, because I really love them and it's nice to know more people will be able to access them then. So yeah, the Bowery top size range at the moment only goes up to the 41 3/4 inch bust, but hopefully a new larger size range will be coming soon. But anyway, so I've been working on my version of the Bowery top. In terms of sizing for my wearable toile, I went for the size A, which is designed for a bust of 32 inches and a waist of 24 inches and hips of 34 inches. So my bust, but my waist and hips would have put me at a size B, so one size larger. But I had a look at the finished garment measurements because they're included in this pattern, and they showed the finished garment measurement for the size A was 37 inches on the waist. So yeah, quite a lot of wiggle room there. And so I thought, and the hips, I guess the hips measurement isn't too critical on this one actually, because it doesn't come down to your hips. So the bust and waist measurements are more important. So I decided for my version, I just go for the straight size A rather than grading out the waist, and just see how that came out on me. And I really enjoyed sewing out the pattern. I do love French Navy instructions. I find they're really clear, lots of nice little details to them and nice little finishes. And here is my wearable toile version of the Bowery top that I finished off. So I made it in these 2 fabrics I had left over from other projects in my fabric remnant suitcase. This red fabric, which I'm not sure if it's a cotton or a poly cotton, and then this white fabric, which I think is a kind of lightweight cotton lawn. It feels quite nice and soft. It could again be a poly cotton as well. I really don't remember what I made these things out of. I'm not even sure if they were dressmaking fabrics. I might have used them as crafty fabrics originally, but I didn't have enough of each one, but I had enough to make sort of a red and white version of the Bowery top. So here it is. I added on a little patch pocket just for fun. And then I added on little red buttons for my stash down the back, so I thought that was quite a cute little detail. So yeah, it's come together really nicely actually. I did a bit of white top stitching at the front here. It's just a really nice finish on this pattern. You can see how neatly, it's really hard to see with the white actually, but maybe I'll hold it back a bit. Everything's kind of really nicely enclosed and finished with a bias bound neckline, and how the placket's done is really nice. It just comes together really nicely. It was real fun to sew. And even the little details like how you turn under the curved hem is really nice. You end up with a pattern sort of making so you sort of do a line of basting stitches, and then you kind of use that line to kind of as a guide to sort of turn under, so you get a really nice curved shape, because you follow that kind of line of stitches turning under like that to give you a really sort of gentle, nice curve. So I'm really happy with how the curve came out, and yeah, it just all sort of came together really nicely actually. I've got the little cuffs on the sleeves, and yeah, as I said, I wouldn't necessarily choose to put these 2 fabrics together normally, but I think it's quite a cute little top that I could wear when the football's on, as sort of England style colours from the England flag, or you know, it might be quite cute in summer with a pair of shorts maybe. So I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I think I will probably wear it, although it's not exactly what I'd necessarily intended for my proper version. So that's it, and I've got a couple of photos so I can show you what it looks like on and how it is on the length front and things. I'll put a photo first of the front view, and I quite like how it sits there, and I quite like the fit of it. I think it isn't as oversized and boxy as I was expecting, so I think if I wanted it to be a bit more oversized and boxy I might size up a couple of sizes, but I quite like, it's quite a neat fit to it. And then I'll put a picture on the sideways, and you can see it is quite short, and particularly the little bit at the side where the sort of dipped hem comes up, it does kind of come up and show a peak of flesh. So I think probably when I make it again in proper fabric, I'll add a bit of length in. I do have a longer torso, so it doesn't surprise me I need a bit more length. But in terms of where the shoulders sit, I don't think I need to make a forward shoulder adjustment, so that's nice. So the only real adjustment I need to make is to lengthen it a bit, and then also think about whether I want a more oversized look and I want to size up a bit, whether I'm happy with a more neater, sort of smarter fit. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to SARP actually. I definitely found the instructions really good, and I'm looking forward to making my proper version. But I have this fabric I have in mind for my proper version, which I've shown before. It's this really gorgeous cotton fabric from Simply Fabrics. I'll link their website down below, but I think unfortunately this particular fabric has sold out. I love the colours in this fabric, it's so pretty, and I thought it'd make a really nice Bowery top. But having made the Bowery top now, and knowing I don't need that much fabric, and I have got 1.5 meters of this fabric, I kind of want to use all of this fabric up, and I'm still really tempted to try and see if I can squeeze a dress out of it. So what I was maybe thinking is, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this, is possibly using the Bowery top pattern and then cropping it off straight across the bottom rather than having the curved hem, and adding on a gathered skirt, see if I can make a cute little Bowery dress maybe. That's what I may be thinking of this fabric. I think I might have just enough if I cut the 2 skirt pieces on the same piece, so I kind of fold it in one side and fold it on the other side, and see if I can squeeze out 2 sort of skirt pieces across the same width, and then I have enough space at the other end of the fabric for the bits I need for the top. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. I'm not sure if I have enough fabric. The reason I want to cut the 2 skirt pieces next to each other is so I can get the sort of stripe matching or the sort of check matching on the skirt done properly. I think if I cut them separately and then tried to fit another pattern piece around it, I might really struggle with the matching. So I'm still not sure if I can do it, but I'm still a bit on the fence about whether to make a straight Bowery top out of this fabric, whether to see if I can squeeze out a little dress by hacking the Bowery top. So I'm not quite sure. I need to have another look at the fabric. I do just love the idea of this fabric as a dress, although I think it would make a really nice top too. I'm not sure, so it's one I need to think about a little bit. If you've got any thoughts, let me know. But I'm really happy with my little sort of wearable toile Bowery top, and it was nice to use up a couple of things from my fabric suitcase, because I am trying to kind of reduce the amount of fabric scraps I have and turn them into actual things I can wear and use, rather than having them sort of sitting in my suitcase that my husband keeps having to bring down for the loft every time I say, can I have a look in that suitcase again please? So that is my first thing I wanted to share. So the next thing I wanted to share in this video is a new pattern, or actually it is a new pattern expansion pack available on an old pattern, so a new twist on an old pattern I guess. But I'm really excited by this one. When I saw this pattern expansion pack come out, it was one I knew I wanted to sew straight away. And I'm often a bit of a slow burner on new patterns. I often have to kind of think about them and maybe weigh it up in my mind whether I want them or not before I go for them. But this one I saw straight away and I knew I wanted to make up. And the original pattern that the new expansion pack has been released for is this one here. It is another pattern by French Navy, funnily enough, so this is turning into a bit of a French Navy themed video. The original pattern is this one here, the Forsythe dress pattern, and it's a pattern I really love. It's one of my favourite patterns actually for a woven dress. So I'll show you the line drawings for the original Forsythe dress pattern. I've made two versions and I love them both and I get loads of wear out of them both. So it's a woven dress pattern with a sort of dropped waist and this lovely panel bodice, and it's quite pretty how the panelling lines then go and sort of feed into the pocket detail on the gathered skirt, and it's got a button down back. And I really like the fit of this dress. It's a kind of relaxed day dress fit. It's not got an oversized fit, but it's not fitted either, so I find it really, really comfy to wear. And yes, I've made two versions of the Forsythe dress to date. I made my first version in a cotton Cath fabric in a navy blue, and then I added on little sort of mustard coloured buttons down the back. It's really soft and comfy to wear. I reach that dress a lot in summer. It's just a really easy one to throw on, and I love layering up like with a sort of top like this underneath in winter too. And then I made my second version in a cotton linen blend fabric in blue and white. And I had a bit of fun with the stripe directions on that fabric. I kind of played around with them. So I had horizontal stripes on the bodice, and then vertical stripes on the skirt, and then vertical stripes on these side panel pieces and horizontal stripes here. So lots of different stripes going on, and had a bit of fun on that one. I love that one for summer too, and the cotton linen blend. And I've been wanting to make another one. I really enjoy sewing this pattern up, and I do get loads of wear out of those two versions. And then this week, French Navy released an expansion pack to turn the Forsythe dress into a wintry version. Yeah, so when I saw it, I thought, yeah, I definitely want to make that. And I actually commented on the French Navy post on Instagram and said, I'm definitely making that. It's going straight to the top of my list. And Sarah kindly then emailed me the expansion pack for free as a gift. Again, with no obligation to share or talk about it or anything, a bit like with the Bowery top, but I knew it was one I wanted to get started on straight away. So here is the new expansion pack for the Forsythe dress, and I really love the look of this. So it's the Forsythe dress with a couple of tweaks. Firstly, the buttons have been moved from the back to the front, so you've got a button down front bodice instead. And then this new wintry sleeve has been added on, and I really, really love the look of this sleeve. I think it's really pretty and a little bit different too. It's described as a beautifully draped 3/4 length bishop sleeve that's gathered into a unique shape at the soft, comfortable cuff. So I thought that looked really cute, and I really wanted to get started straight away on making my wintry version of the Forsythe dress using this expansion pack. I should mention the size range as well. At the moment, the size range is similar for the Bowery top. So at the moment, the size range goes from a UK 6 up to a UK 18, which takes you from a bust of 32 inches up to a bust of 42 inches. But like I mentioned, French Navy are planning to update all of their old patterns to increase the size range. So hopefully in the next sort of 18 months or so, this pattern and the Bowery top will both be available in a larger size range. So my plans are to make this new expanded version, the wintry Forsythe dress, and I'm going to make the size 6. Again, like for the Bowery top, it's designed for bust of 32 inches, waist of 24 inches and hips 34 inches. So my size puts me at that for bust, but one size larger for waist and hips. But I've always gone with a size 6 for my previous versions, and I quite like the fit of that. It isn't close fitting, so I find it's easy enough to pull on over my head and fit over my waist and hips with that size range, because it isn't designed to be too fitted. So I quite like the sort of straight fit of it, and the size 6 is fine for me. So I'm going to make that size again. And I've been so excited to make this one. As soon as I got the pattern, I printed it out, I've traced it out, and I've got the fabric cut out. So now I just need to start sewing, which I'm going to do soon. And I've got my sort of scrap of my fabric left over, so you can see what I'm making in. All the pattern pieces are cut out in the other room, sitting ready to sew. And it's this fabric here, which is another fabric that I got from Simply Fabrics, along with the rose check fabric that I want to make into the Bowery top or dress. So this is the other fabric I got, and this one is like a micro check cotton fabric. And it's got a lovely texture to it. You can really feel the kind of weave of the two different colours, the sort of navy blue and the white on this check. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to turning this into a Forsythe dress. It does say in terms of fabrics, it recommends light to medium weight woven fabric with some measure of drape. This fabric isn't the drapiest fabric ever, but it's fairly lightweight and soft, and I think it will make a nice sort of bishop sleeve still. It just might not be the drapiest bishop sleeve ever. It might have a bit more body to it, but I quite maybe like the idea of that. So I'm hoping it'll work really well, and I'm really looking forward to sewing it up. And I think hopefully in this type of fabric it'll make a really cute day dress for this sort of time of year. So I really can't wait to give it a go. Well, here are the sort of proper line drawings so you can see. So it's got the lovely panelling and the nice gathered skirt with these pockets and just the buttons at the front and these lovely sleeves. And it's a bit of a different sleeve shape. I haven't tried a sleeve shape like this before, and the pattern pieces are quite an interesting shape for these sleeves actually. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they come together. So I'll be sewing that up sooner rather than later. It just really got me excited. So yeah, and it's not often a pattern gets me really excited, so I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm hoping it'll turn out as nicely as I'm hoping. So yeah, we shall see. But this is just my little bit of fabric left over. So as you can see, I managed to just about squeeze out the pattern from the fabric I had, which is great. I'm looking forward to sewing that one up. Oh, and I think this fabric is still in stock at Simply Fabric, so I'll link it down below. And I'll also link the original Forsythe dress pattern and the expansion pack too. So you need to have the original pattern. You can't just buy the expansion pack, because it only gives you the pattern pieces you need to add on the extra elements like the front button down bodice and the sleeves. You'll need the existing Forsythe dress pattern to be able to then add on these extra options. But yeah, I'll link it all down below. So I'm really looking forward to giving the Forsythe dress expansion pack a go. I'm hoping that the wintry version of the Forsythe dress will turn out to be just as wearable as the summery version, and that version I create I'll be reaching for lots too. So yeah, I can't wait to get stuck into that sewing project. And I've also got another project that I've got planned for the next couple of weeks, so I thought I'd talk about that one a little bit in this video too. And it's a new project for a new challenge that's happening here on YouTube and over on Instagram too. And you've probably heard about the challenge already, because there's a whole schedule of vloggers that have been talking about it this month, and it's happening all through the month of October. And it is the Sew Upcycle 22 challenge. So it's being run by Karen, who is So Little Time, and Becky, who's Notes in the Sewing Room. They're both really lovely ladies. They both got YouTube channels, which I'll link down below. And they set up the Sew Upcycle challenge, which is running through October. And these are details here. So you basically need to make an upcycled garment using either an old piece of clothing, and it can be a handmade garment you're not really wearing, or an old piece of ready-to-wear clothing that could do with sort of a refashion. Or you can use an old piece of fabric. So it can't be anything new. It has to be something like an old duvet cover or an old curtain or something along those lines. And you need to upcycle it to turn it into a new garment that is wearable. And then everyone's going to post their before and after photos on Instagram using the SARP22 hashtag on the 31st of October. So it should be a lot of fun seeing what people choose to upcycle and how they make the changes. And there should be loads of inspiration, and yeah, just a lot of fun turning something that's not really being worn or used into something a lot more wearable. So quite a thrifty, sustainable challenge too. So I'm really looking forward to being involved, and I actually posted my video talking about my plans this week. I'll link it up above in case you haven't seen it. In the video, I'm talking about my plans for the Sew Upcycle challenge, and I also share 3 of my other favourite upcycling projects that I've done in the past in the video. When I was asked to join in this challenge, I wasn't sure that I'd done much upcycling before. But when I had a look back, I found that I'd done a bit more than I thought I had. So I picked a few of my favourite upcycles. There are a couple of handmade garments that I wasn't really wearing, and I've sort of changed them up a little bit to make them more wearable. And I'm talking about those in the video too. So yeah, I linked it up above. I'll also link it down below in case you want to check that one out. But I'm planning to work on my garment for the challenge over the next couple of weeks. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'll be sharing more both on Instagram on the 31st of October, along with everyone else. And I'll also be talking more and sharing my finished garment on here too. So stay tuned for that one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, the Sew Upcycle challenge. So that is all of the sewing projects I've got to share in this video. But like I mentioned at the start of the video, I've also got a little bit to share on the knitting front too, because I do love to knit as well as to sew, and I love talking about my knitting projects as well as my sewing projects. I don't want to leave my knitting projects out. So the main knitting project that I've been up to recently is one that I've talked a little bit about in a previous video. It's quite a meaty knitting project. It's been quite involved, and it's a knitting kit that I've made using a We Are Knitters kit for this pattern here, which is their pink Cosmos sweater pattern. It's a really nice sweater pattern with a lovely lacy stitch to it. So it's been quite slow going. I've really enjoyed taking it slowly and concentrating on getting the stitch just right. So I've been making good progress on it. And here it is. So you can see the lovely lacy stitch to it. I think it's a really, really pretty one. So I've knitted up all of the pattern pieces for the Pink Cosmos sweater, and I'm now in the process of sewing it up. So I've sewn the shoulder seams and I've added on the neckband in this ribbing. And now I've started adding on one of the sleeves. I need to add on the other sleeve and then finish sewing up the sort of sleeve and side seams, and then it'll be finished, which will be lovely. But there's still a bit more to go, but not too much. But after I finished knitting up all the pattern pieces, I kind of took a break from it before I started sewing it up. Because sewing up is not my favourite bit, and I kind of wanted to gear up to it and just give myself a little break to come back refreshed and make sure I did a nice job and not rush sort of the finishing steps. So I decided to get started on another knitting project and put this one aside for a few days. And I also wanted to kind of check the fit and try it on with a couple of different garments to see if I needed to lengthen or shorten any of the piece or anything like that. So yeah, I'm now actually getting back into it, but I've also been working on another project alongside this one. And it's one that I've been wanting to do for a while. And it's one that I actually knitted quite a lot of a while ago, but I haven't done recently, which is to knit some more dolls' clothes. So when I started knitting, I knitted quite a few dolls' clothes, and I really enjoyed knitting them for my daughter's dolls. I think I was a bit daunted when I started knitting at the idea of making handmade garments for myself, but dolls' clothes seemed a lot less daunting. Firstly, because the fit wasn't too critical. Secondly, because they're quite small pieces, they knit up quite fast, and if you make a mistake, it's quite quick to unpick, so it's not too daunting a project. And also because it's easy to use kind of fairly cheap wool for them, like sort of double knit, acrylic double knit, whereas for garments for myself, I probably go for a slightly more expensive wool, so they'd be a bit more of a expensive and involved project. So I made quite a few little sort of dolls' clothes for my daughter's dolls when she was a bit littler. And I really enjoyed knitting them, but she didn't actually use them a lot because a lot of the time she just took the clothes off the dolls and wasn't that fussed about actually dressing them. But more recently, she's really enjoyed dressing them, and she's been pulling out some of those knitted garments that haven't got a lot of wear historically. So it's been really lovely seeing her use them. So I thought I might make a few more to add to her little collection. So I thought I'd share with you some of the older garments that I've made previously, because I'm not sure if I shared them on here, or if I have, I shared them a very long time ago. And then I thought I'd share the current project I'm working on the dolls' clothes front. And what I also love about dolls' clothes is that they don't really take much yarn, so it's great for using up sort of older balls of yarn where I've maybe got half a ball left and don't really know what to do with them. And I've got quite a lot of double knits sort of balls that I've sort of started and haven't finished that I've kind of been wanting to clear up a bit like going through my fabric remnants suitcase and trying to clear out some of those remnants too. So yeah, these are some of my older projects that I knitted when I was fairly new to knitting, and just sort of, yeah, finding my feet and trying out new stitches on these teeny little clothes, and it was a lot of fun. So this is one of them here, this little sort of jacket. It's got a little collar, buttons down the front that are kind of actual, you know, you can open them up, they're proper buttons, buttonholes. These little cute little ribbed cuffs, and this really pretty sort of pink and lilac fabric, or kind of lilac and maybe in purple. I think it's quite a cute little stitch, this one, because it's got a little, almost like little hearts on it. It's quite cosy actually, so kind of almost like an outdoor coat or sort of jacket for Dolly. Maybe the equivalent of like the Ilford jacket as a sewing pattern. But yeah, that's quite a cute little one. I also knitted this little lacy dress. I remember finding this a bit of a challenging stitch when I started it. It's quite cute. It's got these little scallops and the lacy stitch, and then a sleeveless dress. And this one has got poppers at the back to undo. It's a different style of opening, but yeah, it's quite a nice little dress in pale pink and pink. I remember enjoying knitting that one. And then this might be one of my favourites actually that I knitted because of the colour of it. A little hot pink cardigan. I think it's really cute. It's got the raglan sleeves and this really cute kind of chunky stitch to it and chunky buttons. I just love the hot pink. I kind of just made this one more for myself and my daughter really, because I just loved the idea of a teeny little doll's cardigan in such a neon pink colour. And then another one that's quite a popular one at the moment, and this is one I'm going to recreate again that I'm knitting at the moment. It's a little jumpsuit or like a play suit pattern, and the dolly's actually wearing this one at the moment, so you can see the dolly modelling this one. It's a really cute little play suit with this lovely sort of textured stitch to it. Got little rib cuffs and then a button down front again, the functioning buttonholes on this one, so that's how the dolly gets in and out, a little rib around the front. And I remember when I made this one, I was using this turquoise wool that was left over from another project, and I didn't have quite enough, so I ended up adding on this the button placket and the little cuff neckband, sorry, in this white fabric, just to kind of make sure I could actually finish it. So yeah, here's the baby wearing this one, and I'm going to make another one of these because my daughter quite likes this little play suit, so I'm planning another one of those at the moment. And the pattern is this one here. I can't remember where I got it from. If I can find it online, I will link it down below. It's a Sirdar pattern 3072 doll's clothes pattern, and it comes with also a little lacy dress. This one here, so it's quite a nice pattern, and I think actually that's a little cardigan as well, isn't it? A little neon pink cardigan. So yeah, I've really used this pattern quite a lot. I've got a few dolls patterns. This is definitely one I've used quite a lot. But this is a cute little play suit, and I'm now making a version that actually looks a bit more, it's going to look a bit more like this one in the picture, because it's in this pink colour here. So this is where I've got to so far. I haven't got too far, I'm just on a leg at the moment. I'm taking it slowly and enjoying knitting it up. So it's going to be pretty much identical to this one, only in pink. I'm not sure if I'm going to add a feature plackets and band. I might ask my daughter what she'd prefer, whether she'd prefer all in pink or whether she'd like a little feature, different colour there. But it's just a nice little project. They're such small pieces that I can just sit down for half an hour and make a little bit of progress and then kind of enjoy it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying actually working on that. It'll be nice to, yeah, do it because I haven't done any dolls clothes for ages. And I think when I started sewing these dolls clothes up, I wasn't that great on the sewing up. So yeah, some of the sewing up isn't the neatest ever, but I think this version will be a bit more neat because I've learned a bit more about how to sew knitting seams up since then. So I'm really enjoying working on that one. And actually I thought I'd ask in this video, I have quite a lot of balls of wool sitting around, or half finished balls of wool. I know dolls clothes are great for using up those scraps, but if you have any other ideas of what's good for using up half sort of balls of double knit yarn, I would love ideas, because I'd love to sort of tackle a few more of the balls and kind of, yeah, just use some of my stash up to make into something useful rather than having it sitting around, because I do find wool takes up quite a lot of room. And we don't have so much room in this house, so I'm trying to kind of, yeah, declutter a little bit. So if you have any ideas for what to use up leftover half balls of double knit wool, I'd really much appreciate them. Please do put them in the comments and I'll get a little list together and see what I can do, because I do love a knitting project. But yeah, I will share with you more on my little dolls clothes progress. It's slow going, I just pick it up every now and then, get a little done, but yeah, it'll be nice to finish that off, and I think my daughter will enjoy that. So that is my current knitting project, along with my sweater for myself, which is a bit more at the other end of the scale, a lot more involved. So that is everything that I've got to share in this video. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing a bit about my current sewing and knitting projects and plans. It's been really fun to chat them through with you. And as ever, if you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And please do also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you press the bell icon as well, it means you'll be notified when my future videos come out. So thank you very much for watching. I'll hopefully see you for another video soon. But in the meantime, I hope you have a great day. And thanks again. See you soon. Bye.